Welcome. Today we'll do a quick update on the wolf sunsetting, and then we'll do a quick Q&A with everyone. Now, if you're able to stay on the call longer, I am able to stay a bit past 10:15, so I'm not going to end it right at 10:15 if there are more questions. So again, welcome to the user group. Betty Kiteg from the South Calgary PCN and myself are the leads. And today's agenda, so we'll do a quick 5-minute update, and then we'll do a 7 to 10 minute Q&A, and we'll talk about the next webinar and what we might want that to be about. Okay, so here are the key messages from TELUS as we stand today. So TELUS has communicated to their clients by either phone or letter, so all wolf clinics should know about this now. If anyone has any migrating questions, we're directing them directly to Wolf. So that's not up to the PCNs or the AMA to answer. That's TELUS Wolf that can answer those. Just note that clinics won't actually start being migrated until March 2021 at the earliest. So we're actually thinking probably May 2021. And clinics calling TELUS now to sign up for the migration are actually being scheduled for next summer. So as of now, we're being told migration will take a while. So there will still be wolf clinics around for quite a while. We will still be creating wolf resources for our initiatives and providing wolf support. So this user group won't be going away anytime soon. And some helpful TELUS resources that have been created are an FAQ. So I'll actually show you what this FAQ looks like here. And it does answer quite a few questions. So I'll show you here. So this is what it looks like. There's 7 pages total. So the first section is general about the migration to MedAccess. And then there are some answers directly about MedAccess. So if you have any questions about MedAccess, they do answer those in here. Okay, there's also general information on their front wolf page. Whoops, sorry. So you can go there. It's also linked to in the FAQ, so you can get there from there. And then again, if you have any other questions, just contact Wolf directly. Okay, so how can the EMR network help? So first I want to do a quick poll with everyone. We've suggested as an EMR network lead group, we've suggested maybe having some Q&A sessions with some of the other user groups. So I know there's some questions about, well, what EMR should I switch to? I know TELUS is saying migrate to MedAccess because there's no fees, that kind of thing. But what if clinics are considering a different EMR? How do they know which EMR is better or for their needs? So we've considered doing some Q&A sessions with some of the other user groups. So just out of curiosity, I'm going to start a poll here. And so I'd like you to say which of the following EMR user groups you would like to have a Q&A session with. So you can select all of the groups that apply. You can select more than one. So I'll leave that open as I go through the rest of the points on this slide here. And so how we can help as well, we can help provide some comprehensive answers to your questions, or at least point you to the appropriate source for the answer. So in the broader AMA, we know that there might be interest for a webinar about wolf sunsetting. And so this is a great place if you guys have big questions that we think might be able to be better answered in a broad webinar for everyone. This is the place to ask them, and then I can forward them on to the broader AMA. And then we also would encourage you to go to the other EMR user group discussion boards on the EMR network. So if you have any specific questions about, say, Acuro or HealthQuest or any of the other EMRs, go to that discussion board and ask those users. They would be able to best answer those questions because they use that EMR. Also, go online and read some reviews about the other EMRs. See what users think about them. And then otherwise, you can contact all of the EMR vendors directly and kind of hear their sales pitch and what they might have to offer. Okay, so it looks like 20 out of 29 of you have voted. So I will end the poll now, and so we'll see. We'll share the results. So it looks like Med Access is huge. It does look like there's some interest for all of them. So what I will do is I'll try to set up a Q&A session with all of the other user groups, and that way you can pick and choose which ones you want to attend and ask those questions. And we invite you to invite other people to those sessions as well. If there are other clinic users that you think might be interested, invite those as well. So you can watch for those invites. So thank you very much for that information. Okay, and now to you. So yeah, I'm curious, does anyone have any questions that maybe I can forward on to the wider AMA, or maybe answer myself today, or maybe someone else in the group can answer? Okay, so we have a question from Diane. I have not heard any information from TELUS about migrating to PS Suite. They are steering everyone to Med Access. Are they also going to sunset PS Suite? So that's a great question, Diane. There hasn't been an official announcement that they will sunset PS Suite. I honestly would not be surprised if they did. I know in their FAQ, they say that they are telling everyone to migrate to Med Access because that's the EMR that they will continue to be improving and kind of migrate to a cloud setting eventually. So that's the EMR they're really focusing on right now. They do say in their FAQ, if a clinic does really want to switch to PS Suite, they will also support that, but that's on a case-by-case basis. So sorry, I don't have a definite answer as to whether or not they can sunset PS Suite, but based on their FAQ, I would say their plans are to eventually just focus on Med Access. So hopefully that helps.
Hi, Sarah. It's Brianna from the Leduc Primary Care Network. Hi. We have PS Suites in our main office, and we just got another release from them last week. And they said that PS Suites has no intention of sunsetting and that they're here to stay, but they will be doing a huge overhaul, and it will look really different. I think they're going to try to align it closer to Med Access.
That's great to know. Yeah.
I think they're really far behind Wolf, so I think it will be a while, but I think that's why they're switching people to Med Access, because it is going to be a huge change for PS Suite users.
Perfect. Thanks, Brianna. That's great. I'll pass that on to our group. Will there be training for Med Access? So Lynn, according to the FAQ, they are saying that they will provide free basic training for Med Access to all users. So that's just basic training. There probably would be additional costs for more advanced training. But as far as I know, there is no charge for that basic training, unless anyone else on the line has heard otherwise. Where do we go to get started, Shauna? Great question. So what I would suggest is actually go to this general information page here. What they have on there, actually here, I'll go there so you can see. Sorry, here, I'll actually post it in the chat. That way you can go there yourself. And while I'm doing that, feel free to ask any other questions that you might have. Okay, so there's that web page. So I'll actually show you what that's like. So this is just a general information page about what's happening. And so what they say is just to contact them using this button here. So that's where I would go. I would also start on that FAQ page. That'll give you lots of answers So Kim, if the clinic is planning on getting the EMR switched next summer, would they call to book now since they're, yeah, so I would call now. That doesn't guarantee that you will get a spot next summer. What I've heard is that some people are even getting scheduled for next fall. So yes, I would definitely call now if you would like that. As long as that clinic is sure they want to go to MedAccess, then yes. And on that note, if clinics are considering moving to Accuro or PS Suite or another one, or actually, sorry, Accuro or HealthQuest specifically, or other EMRs that aren't CIIC Part conformed, note that Wolf will likely be charging them for that migration. There may also be a cost for migration on the other vendor's side, so that's something to note. And also note when you get a quote from Wolf or any other vendor about how much that might cost, you can negotiate. So that's something we strongly encourage, is that you negotiate between the vendors. Are there any other experiences that people have had with clinics going through this process? I know we've heard sometimes that the Wolf team can be quite intense in their sales tactics. I don't know if anyone's encountered that. Yes, I can send that link. Absolutely. And anyone who joined late, did you want me to go over any of the key messages that we talked about today? We are recording the session, so it will be posted afterwards. I'm happy to do that. All right, any other burning questions? And of course, you're always welcome to email your questions to us at the, I'll show you our email later in some later slides, but you're always welcome to email them to us or even post them on our discussion board. So feel free to do that. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. So Diane, clinics are anxious not to have to do this process again soon. Yes. Have they committed to how long they will continue to have the MedAccess platform without any expensive changes or upgrades in the future? Once they have so many people on it, they will basically, yes, that's a great point, Diane. And honestly, I can't answer that question. I don't know if anyone else on the call can, but I would definitely ask the TELUS team about that. So we do know that MedAccess, there will be some big upgrades, absolutely. The cost of those, I'm not sure, but you're right. They could charge an arm and a leg for that, absolutely. So that's where clinics might consider maybe it is time to switch to another EMR now before the costs get too high, but that's always up to the clinic. We can't really advise anything there. Okay, so keep bringing, any chance of AHS having a system for all providers to use? Yes, great question, Josephine. That comes up a lot. So many of you probably know they have come out with Connect Care and they're still rolling that out. So as far as we know, the government has put out a mandate that Connect Care will not become an EMR for everyone to use, at least for the next 5 years. So that's not in the plans at all at the moment. I can't say anything about past the 5 years, but I doubt that will happen. That is just a AHS way of connecting AHS facilities. So that's going to be rolled out over the next 5 years, but not with the hopes of becoming a provincial EMR. Matt, is there any info around PCNs migrating large amounts of patient charts to a different EMR? Yeah, so that's a great question. So that's something that we could always ask the other user groups when we do those Q&As with them. So I'll schedule those, and that's a great question to bring up there. But I'll also bring that question up to the wider AMA and see if they have a response about that. Yeah, and you're right, TELUS is difficult about that. And so, yeah, that's something we'll have to deal with. And maybe we can, at the AMA, figure out a better process for figuring out how to do that. Yeah, Stuart. Yeah, and so they are using some pressured sales tactics, trying to get people to sign off. Yes, we want to move to mid-access. So yeah, clinics just need to know that they have a choice. Mid-access is not their only choice. Jennifer, if you join CII CPAR with Wolf, will the paperwork carry over when EMR is switched? Yes, that's a great question. So yes, Wolf clinics are still encouraged to sign up for CII CPAR. They won't have to do anything once they're migrated to mid-access. They will automatically still be on CII CPAR. There won't be any paperwork required. I know that's a huge amount of work. So yes, no having to redo all of that. So Brianna, mid-access allows some batch changes to be done for certain criteria, yes. Now, one thing to note is any rules that you have in the practice search or any searches that you've custom built in Wolf will not carry over. So when a clinic migrates over, they're gonna wanna take screenshots of all of their rules and they'll have to recreate them in the mid-access database. What clinics have to be closed down to do the initial switch? So that's something you'll have to clarify with TELUS. There will be some downtime. I know their FAQ says it'll be anywhere from 2 days to 2 weeks to do the migration. I don't know how much of that time will require that the clinic actually closes down, but I think it'll depend on how much data you're bringing over. So that's something TELUS could answer better. Do we have a peer-to-peer group for PCPs to reach out for advice from other PCPs? Yes, so that's the EMR network. As well, if you want, there's the practice facilitator network that might be good as well. But that's where those Q&A sessions, what we can do is we can also see, if you let me know which EMR you're curious about, then we can always match you up with someone and try to create that peer-to-peer group. So there are none that exist now, but that's something we can definitely look into, Brianna. Are people already hearing about incentives from TELUS for switching to mid-access? I've heard a couple. So that I'm not sure. That's not something that I've heard of. I don't know if anyone else on the call has heard anything. TELUS doesn't specifically talk to us about those things, so that's something that maybe other people in clinics might know. That's a great question, Diane. I can bring that up to the EMA. Maybe they can cover that in their webinar. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, Diane. So what you could do to even start is just post in the discussion board, or even, yeah, and if anyone else is interested in forming this kind of group and connecting, then that would be a great way to do it. Just get each other's contact information. Yeah, that's a good, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see if Accuro and HealthQuest are offering any incentives. So that's something that I can actually get the AMA to look into. I'll just note that down. Yeah, because we do know that Wolf has the biggest market share in the province in terms of EMRs. So I could imagine other EMR vendors would be interested in, yeah, so Ava Industries is a big EMR that people seem to be switching to. It was created by some doctors out of Calgary. And so the only thing with that one to note is it's not currently CII CPAR conformed. So if a clinic is CII CPAR, is live on CII CPAR or would like to be, Ava is not yet configured for that. Not to say they might not be in the future, but just something to note. And so that's good to know. So yes, if you would like to know about incentives, then Ava might be something to look into. I personally have never worked with Ava, but I do know some clinics are switching over to that one. CII CPAR is a big push to implement. If Ava is, I don't know. That's something that I can ask. But I'm not sure. And the reason I'm not sure is because I don't know how many users they have on that. So I don't know how big they are. because to be CII-CFAR conformed, AH would probably want to know that you have enough users to make it worth it. Yes, I heard Ava has a meeting in a couple weeks. So that's great. Thank you for that information. That's great. So yes, I can clarify more with some of our other EMR leads if they've heard about that, because that would be something, and that's something I can share on the discussion board or more widely with you guys by email if they are. Yes, perfect. Okay, so I will get you guys that information once I have it. Great, thank you, Matt. That's great. Yeah, so I'll confirm that as well. Yeah, and that was my concern, Stuart, is that I don't know that Ava has enough users on it yet that AH would consider. I think there are some other EMRs that have more users on them that would be considered first. Thanks, Stuart, for that update. Thanks everyone for all your input. It's nice to get some answers from the field as well, because we at the AMA don't always have all of the information that you might. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks, Scott or Stuart. Okay, so if you have any other comments or questions, put them in the chat. I know we're over time, so just be respectful of all of your time. So talking about future meetings, I know the next user group meeting, we were thinking of doing an hour session to create a list of the initiatives or other things that you might be working on. I'm now wondering if maybe we do 4 different sessions with each of the other user groups, if that might be more timely. And then maybe in the new year, we can look at creating that list of initiatives with everyone. So if you want to quickly maybe do a reaction or put in the chat if you think that's a good idea, focus on in November on those user group Q&As. Thanks, Alal. Great, thanks. Okay, so we'll do that then. Perfect. So yes, November we'll do user group Q&As, and then December we'll take off because of holidays and that, and then in the new year we'll reconvene and maybe do a quick other update like this, and then see where we go from there. Perfect. Thank you everyone for your input. Okay, so I will schedule the next webinars based on your feedback today, so I'll get all of those done. And then here's my email address. I'll actually post it in the chat here for you guys. If you have any other questions, and I can either answer you or, oh, Diane, great question. Yes. Yeah, so if anyone else wants to be part of the EMR network, what I would do is I would direct them to the EMR supports page on our website. So here, I'll show you where that is. So it's this page here, and what they can do is they can sign up for access to the collaborative here. So I would use this link, and I'll post this in the chat so you guys can send people there. It's also, when you go to our website, it's this right here. If you click on that, you can get there. So yes, encourage people to join. This is about people just sharing their experiences in that. So that's perfect, just like today.